Welcome to the Digital Real Estate Secrets Podcast. This is episode 16, The Dark Side of Rank and Rent, or digital real estate, whatever one you want to call it. For those of you that don't know what we mean when we say rank and rent or digital real estate, if this is your first episode ever, first of all, you're welcome. Second of all, it is the simplest business model on the internet. Build a website, rank the website, rent the website out. What do I mean when I say rent the website out? What I mean by that is the phone calls that come from that website when you rank it on Google, that is what you're renting out. Those are leads. That's what the business owners want, and that is what we're renting out. So guys, this is a 4-step model. You pick a city and you pick a niche. You build a website, you rank the website, and you rent it out. That's it. So in this episode, guys, we are going to be talking about the downsides of rank and rent, the dark side of rank and rent. And this is not a clickbait, come in, I'm gonna talk about some potential downsides and flip it and make it seem all good. No. I'm actually gonna cover the downsides, the negatives, the things that you should be aware of, the things that I wish I was aware of when I got started. And then you guys can make a decision if you guys still want to proceed with this model and if it's the model for you. And it's not for everybody. I'll be honest, it's not for everybody. But if you are somebody that is looking to travel and make money, wants complete control over their schedule, that likes recurring income, passive income, so I guess semi-passive income, and likes to have control over your business, it's a phenomenal model. Okay, it is the best model that I have found on the internet. Now, I'm going to get into this really, really quickly and get right to the point. This is probably going to be a short episode. I got to tell you guys, it's at this point laughable. This is my third time trying to record this episode. Every time I try to record this episode, the freaking power goes out, and I try to save what I've recorded, and it doesn't upload. So this is the third time recording this. So I'm going to get right into the good stuff, because if heaven forbid this power goes out again, I might break my computer. But that's part of my decision to travel and be in third world countries like Sierra Leone and West Africa, which, by the way, I'll take it all freaking day, 7 days a week and twice on Sunday, whatever that saying is. I love it and I'm excited about it. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Nick Wood. I've been doing this a long time, made a lot of money, lost a lot of money doing it. And I've actually done it. I've built the simple websites. I've ranked them. I've scaled that model up to a 7-figure business and did that for years and years before I ever started teaching it, before I ever started doing any of that. So I have made gobs of money building and renting simple websites. And I don't do that to pound my chest or this, because there's people that are better than me. There's people that have made more money than me. I say that because you should be thinking, why the heck should I listen to this guy? Why should I listen to his podcast? What authority does he have to speak on this? I guess all I could say is that I've done it. I've done it, a lot of it, and I've been doing it for years. Okay, so guys, let's just get into it. My promise, my goal for this episode is that by the end of this episode, you see the downsides, the ones that I think are downsides, and with that, you can make a decision. Hey, should I still pursue this? Is it still the model that I should pursue, or should I go and check out something else? Maybe it's not for you. Maybe you watch this episode, and it's not for you. And if that's the case, I've still done my job. My goal for this episode personally is to just be honest with you guys and let you guys know there are some downsides. Any model that says there's no downside, that's a sketchy model. That is something that I would see red flags. Okay. So that said, guys, let me move my phone over here so it doesn't bug me. Let's get into it, guys. So what I'm going to do, this is the plan. I'm going to talk about 5 downsides that I see. And then I'm going to talk about why I'm still going into this model. Why, and not just going into, why I've been making my money from this model since 2016, and why I am basically betting my future on this model. This is where I'm making my money. This is, my eggs are in this basket. And if this basket goes down, I'm going down bigger than anybody. Okay. Probably not bigger than anybody, bigger than a lot of people. Okay. This is the model. And so, but despite the downsides, I want to let you guys know why I'm still comfortable and excited and still sleeping at night and going full force ahead, even though there's downsides. Okay. So let's go to the downsides. Downside number 1. You are a Google update away from being completely ruined, okay? I would say ruined, jacked up, thrown off kilter. And for those of you that are brand new, what does that mean? What's a Google update? Well, Google update is when Google comes, they do an update on their algorithm, and they go and they check all the websites, and certain websites that are doing certain things, they get sandboxed, they get black box, they get moved from page 1 to page, you can't find that website unless you type in the exact URL, the exact www dot, okay, dot whatever. And so when you're ranking a website, which for those of you that are brand new, you may not know this, but when you're ranking a website, you're just optimizing for Google. You're doing things that Google likes, and then Google's rewarding you by putting you at the top of Google. So when I say that you're a Google update away from being jacked up, it's because if you are not doing things by the book, if you're not doing things exactly how Google likes them, you could be in trouble because there could be an update that your website goes from the top of page one to disappearing, and you might be sending somebody 50 leads from that website in Tuscaloosa, Alabama for tree service, and overnight your website's not to be found, it's disappeared, and so instead of getting 50 leads, you get zero, and you're not making 1,000 anymore, you're making zero, and you have an unhappy business owner. So biggest downside, number one downside, is you are a Google update away from being jacked up. Okay. Number two, there are large companies, and I say large companies coming into this space, companies with lots of money, people with companies with very smart, like C-suite level type of people. Like these are some big companies that are coming into the space now. That's exciting on one hand because it shows us, hey, this is a real business. You know, in the beginning, back in 2015, 16, when I started, it was kind of like, well, this is a little trick, this little magic trick that you can do, but is this sustainable? Are we gonna continue to make money over time? And now we're seeing that, okay, these massive companies, and I'm talking companies that have venture capital, private equity, like these are massive companies coming into the space. It's exciting on one hand, but it's something we need to be aware of. If they come in and they start building thousands of sites and they start putting a lot of R&D money into this space, we got to be ready. Well, what's that going to look like for us? How's that going to affect us? And I will tell you, I don't necessarily know the private equity companies, the venture capital companies that are backing some of these companies, but I know a specific company that in the last 2.5 years has made $63 million doing this business model. And I'm not talking about doing it the way you and I are talking about doing it, which is building a website, ranking it, and then renting it out, right? They're doing it completely different, a way you've never thought about. Now, maybe you're asking, why aren't you doing that, Nick? That's silly. Well, the way they're doing it, it's above board. It's completely fine, but it comes with a lot of risk. It comes with some stuff I don't know anything about. It comes with a lot of experience. They are doing it in a very interesting way. And these are people I'm cordial with, but I'm just here to tell you there's a company that I know personally that's made $63 million in this space in the last 2.5 years. That's who's in this space now. Okay. Something to be concerned about. So I wouldn't even use the word concern, but something to be aware of and to think about, how does that affect me and you? Downside number three is that the barrier to entry in this model is too low. To get into this, it's too easy. It's too low. There's no licensure. You don't need you don't have to pass a test. There's no one watching if you're doing things above board. It's too low. And I'm not saying that for competition's sake. I'm saying that because of that, because it's so easy, people don't treat this as a real business, and it becomes a thing that gets a bad reputation. Oh, you talk to someone, oh, I tried that for a little bit. I tried the rank and rent model. It just didn't work. Well, that's because you didn't actually do it the way it was supposed to be done. That's because you didn't treat it like a real business. Okay. So that's another one. The barrier to entry is too low. Some of you guys will be like, that's a good thing. Well, it's a good thing if you're trying to get as many people as possible that don't know anything about business. Yeah. But if you're trying to get the best players out there to be in this space, it's not a good thing. Okay. Jimmy John's, for example, if you guys are in the US, I think they're outside the US as well. I don't actually have no idea. But anyway, if you guys know what Jimmy John's, it's a franchise. I think last time I heard, you need $500,000 liquid cash to even look at a franchise. Do you know the kind of person that's going to attract? That's going to attract a high level person, somebody that's made money, somebody that has money, which means they probably are smart and ambitious and disciplined and everything else. So it attracts a very high level person, whereas something like this can attract some bottom of the barrel stuff because it's such a low barrier to entry. And again, it can be an upside, but I consider it a downside. Okay. Number four downside is if you do not learn how to sell, if you do not know how to sell, if you do not learn the art of getting people to give you their credit card in exchange for your leads, you will make no money. Okay. A lot of people get into this and think if I can build a website, if I can rank it, do a couple SEO tricks, I'm golden. No, 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 no. That is the beginning. That's the easy part, guys. If you don't learn how to sell, you will not make money. We're going to talk about that in depth when I talk about why I'm still sleeping at night, why I'm still pursuing this, and I'm putting all my eggs in this basket, okay? But let me tell you this. A ranking website at the top of Google that's getting a bunch of leads, 100 leads, 50 leads, 200 leads, doesn't mean anything if you can't get somebody to pay for it. So if you don't learn how to sell, you're not going to make money. And I will tell you, you don't need sales experience to start, but you need to learn how to get people over time to give you their credit card. Again, I've most of the people that I work with inside of Digital Landlord, so my program, I'd say 97% have no sales experience when they work with me, because we have a sales process, because we teach them how to do it, because we force them to start actually picking up the phone and making those uncomfortable, steps. They learn how to do that, and you don't have to do it to start. You can get deals in the beginning without it. There's strategies, but you do need to learn how to sell. Okay, you do need to learn how to get people to give you their money, and that can be a downside, right? Because you can't just come into this and just refuse to learn how to sell. It's just not going to work. Okay, so that could be a downside. For people that don't mind, and people that are okay and ready to get their hands dirty, that's not a downside. But for a lot of people, it is. Okay, and number 5, guys, is there's no depreciation or appreciation, just cash flow. What I mean by that, guys, is with physical real estate, and I'm kind of comparing physical and digital. With physical real estate, say you go buy a fourplex, okay? It's for those of you that don't know what that is, that's 4 units on one property that are connected. So you go buy a fourplex, there is something called depreciation, where on your taxes, you can go and depreciate certain things. So you can go to tell the government, hey, this property, I bought it for this. They'll let you basically write off the cost of the depreciation of that fourplex against your active income. If you set it up properly, you have to have a real estate, it's called real estate professional status. But, and I'll only cover my butt by saying that, but there is a way you can depreciate the property against your active income if you set it up properly. And you can also depreciate it against your other rental income without even having the real estate professional status. You do not get that with physical real or with digital real estate. You do not get depreciation. You just don't. Okay. It's not the same, and I'm not going to pretend it's the same. So you don't get depreciation, and you also don't get appreciation. Now, yes, you could build a website and start, adding more traffic and get more leads, and you can force some appreciation and say, hey, my website was worth nothing, and now it's worth, someone's willing to pay this. But it's not like regular real estate where you build a house and then the market increases and inflation or whatever, and now all of a sudden your property, instead of being worth 500,000, it's worth 750,000 by just being, okay? Not going to happen. It's not the same as regular real estate. Okay, so those are 5 things. Went through those. Google update. Big companies coming into the space. Barrier to entry is too low. If you don't learn how to sell, you're not going to make any money. And lastly, there's no appreciation or depreciation. So guys, why in the world am I still doing this? Why am I still jumping into this full force? Why am I still excited, making YouTube videos every freaking week, going live, teaching people how to do this, sending leads to my clients, talking every single day of the year about this business model? Well, guys, despite all that, this business model checks every single box that it needs to check for me to be what I would consider the perfect business model. Number 1, recurring revenue. Check. Number 2, asset-based. Check. Number 3, location freedom. Check. Number 4, big, fat, juicy margins. Check. Number 5, scalability. Check. Number 6, recession resistant, to name a few. It still checks all those boxes, and I'm still going forward. Now, how am I making peace with each one of these downsides? So let me go into each one really quickly. Number 1, okay. Well, let me make sure. Hold on. I want to make sure that I cover this in the way that I want to cover this, because I don't want to be jumping around too much. Okay. Yeah, let's just go like this. Okay. So I'm gonna go step by step here. So number 1, I said the Google update. Okay. The reason I'm not worried about a Google update is because number 1 is I do everything white hat. If there's gray hat, if there's black hat, if there's things that you can do to speed up your process of ranking, I stay away from those things, even if it means I've got to spend more time ranking. Let me give you an example. AI is a huge thing right now. People are writing AI content. They're pushing a thing on ChatGPT, and content's coming out. They're throwing on their website. That isn't necessarily black hat. I don't think so. It's just using your tools. But I'm not convinced that Google's not going to come and say, hey, any AI content, we're going to trace it. We're going to figure out how to trace it, and we're going to sandbox you guys. We're going to black box you guys. I'm not convinced they're not going to do that, right? So for me, the harder thing to do is to write organic content using human beings, building a keyword list, structuring my content, and paying for content, right? And going and editing it and checking it and making sure it goes through, the anti-plagiarism tools and all that kind of stuff. That's a pain. Excuse me, but it's a pain that I'm willing to pay. It's a pain I'm willing to go through because I'm doing this for real. I'm doing this big. I'm doing this. This is what I'm doing. This is the empire that I'm building is on the back of this. So I do everything by the books, even if it takes longer. I do everything white hat. I'm a little bit of a stickler about that. So I don't worry about that. But even if something happened that maybe I wasn't aware, maybe it was a complete fluke thing I didn't know. I know how to get leads outside of just ranking a website. I know how to get leads from a Google My Business profile, which is separate from ranking a website. I know how to get leads from Google ads. I know how to get leads from Facebook ads. I know how to supplement my clients with other lead sources. And so because of that, yes, it's going to still hurt me if Google does an update and it just completely ruins all my websites and takes them off the map, of course. But I'm not going to go out of business. I'm going to retain my clients. I'm going to sit down with them, tell them what's happened, let them know I'm building it back. I'm going to start fresh. I'm going to do this, that, the rest. But I'm still going to be able to keep my clients. I'm not just going to have them disappear overnight. So the reason that I sleep at night knowing that there could be a Google update is because I'm doing stuff by the books and I know how to get leads from other sources besides just ranking a website. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, how am I dealing with like big competitors and making peace with that? Well, guys, the way I'm dealing with that is, guys, we've been dealing with big companies since I started, since 2016. I've been competing with HomeAdvisor. I've been competing with Angelus. These are massive companies with huge names, with good, I wouldn't say good reputations in all cases, but they're well known, right? I've been competing with those. I remember when I first started, Google was testing out the Google, what's it called? The Google Guaranteed. You see at the top with the little like green star, whatever. And I remember when I first started seeing that and going, oh my gosh, that's going to put us out of business. Google's coming in the lead generation. I mean, who's the biggest competitor on Google's platform than HomeAdvisor or a VC firm it's Google itself, right? So I've been seeing this since 2016. And so for me, these things don't stress me out because I know I'm never just going to be average. I'm not just going to be an average company. I'm not just going to do just enough to get by. I'm going to give a service that is I guess I could use the word it's special. It's white glove. It's something that is going to be different no matter how big these companies get. I'm going to be able to give that service that they will never be able to give. And so for me, I've been competing for so long. I've seen stuff come and go. I've seen people worry about this, that, and the rest. If I see stuff come up, I get excited about it. Okay. Google Guarantee came out. How can we use it? AI came out. I'm not afraid of it. How can I use it to my advantage, right? If that's the mentality that you have, you shouldn't be scared of this kind of stuff, of big players coming into the space. You should be going, what can I learn from them? And also, maybe there's a way to work with them. That's the kind of way that I think is collaboration over competition. So those things don't scare me. It is something to be aware of that you need to realize, like, there's some big players coming in, but guys, I don't care. Let them go build 1,000 websites in concrete tomorrow. It doesn't matter because there's niches. There's tons and tons of niches. And guess what? No matter what, I've got the white glove experience because I give a service that's above and beyond what anyone else can give. So it doesn't stress me out. Okay. That one kind of just so you guys know, number two, I said there's big companies. Number three is I said the barrier to entry is super, super low. And so there's going to be all these competitors coming in, whatever. For that, guys, the reason I don't care about that is I don't care how many competitors come in. I don't care how many people compete with me. I don't believe that that's going to dilute you making money. You watching this right now, it's your first time ever watching this. You coming into this space, you coming into Rank and Rent does not take money out of my pocket. If anything, it puts money in my pocket. I always use this quote. The laws of marketing state that the more familiar a person is with a product or service, the more apt they are to buy. AKA, if you, sir or ma'am, that's watching this right now decides to get into Rank and Rent and you start cold calling all the business owners that I'm going to cold call in 6 months or a year, you aren't hurting me. You're helping me because now you're letting them know about what I do. You're letting them know about what you do, which is the same thing as I do. So now they're more familiar with the model. They're more familiar with this exchange of I give you leads, you give me money. And it just helps me. So I sleep at night because I don't have a scarcity mindset. Okay. Number four, if you don't know how to sell, you're not going to make any money. Well, guess what? I happen to have a process that is very, very, very good for sales. I have a process that if you do X, Y, and Z, a sale will pop out the back end. It's something I've been working on forever, since 2016. But since 2020, I've really, really dialed this in. I've got the scripts. I've got the how who do I put on my list of people to call? Who do I not put on my list of people to call? What do I say when I call? How many leads do I send? What happens if the customer says this? What happens if the customer doesn't text me? What happens if the customer doesn't respond to me? What happens when I get on the Zoom call? What am I going to say? How do I make the move? I have every single piece of this dialed into to such a degree that I've put people into the system inside Digital Landlords that never had sales experience, that actually have speech impediments and other issues that you think would just completely stop them from getting sales, that are terrified of the phone. And they are not only just getting deals, but they are making good money. They are out of the rat race, making enough money to pay their bills. Okay. So for me, I don't really care because I know how to sell, and I have a system that knows that if you follow it, it produces deals. And so it doesn't worry me. If you do not, well, I'll tell you where you can get one. Just message me. Obviously you guys should know what I'm talking about when I say that. But if you guys know how to sell, if you guys are committed to knowing how to learn how to sell, if you're committed to learning how to sell, you shouldn't worry about that at all. Okay. So guys, and lastly, when I talk about the depreciation or the appreciation, how it doesn't have that, the reason I don't mind is because I'm using both. Okay. Here's my strategy. This has been my plan for years. I make my money with digital. So I make a lot of profit. I make tons of money with digital real estate cash, and I'm smart about it. And I take that money, I pay my bills, I put money aside for my kids, all that kind of stuff, pay, donate money to my church, all the things that need to be done. And I take my excess money and I save it and I put it into physical real estate, right? I have, this isn't a bragging thing because I don't have that many properties, but I have some commercial property. I have some residential property, and some of those properties actually make me some good money. Okay. But on top of that, I'm able to use those properties to get depreciation, to get appreciation, and also be able to get the benefits of digital. So the way that I sleep at night is because I'm going to take my money that I'm making from digital and I'm going to put it into something that's maybe you could consider a bit more stable. If you're somebody that needs to see something and you consider that stable, or something that's fixed, go put it into physical real estate, right? And tap into the depreciation and appreciation that you don't get from digital. Okay. So guys, that's the deal. There's going to be risk with any business. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's a Jimmy John's franchise, a McDonald's franchise. I don't care if you're starting a carpet cleaning business. I don't care if you're starting a window washing company or you're starting a interior design company. There is going to be risk with any business. The two things that make me confident, guys, is number one, I'm never going to be average in any business that I do. And so I'm always going to figure out a way to be better than everybody else, even if I'm offering the same thing. And number two, I have a system for getting deals that is turnkey. And those two things give me all the confidence in the world. Guys, there are downsides to rank and rent. You need to be aware of them. It's not just all Skittles and rainbows and all that kind of stuff. They're real things. They're things that you need to consider. And anybody that is telling you that their business model is perfect is lying. Okay. That's just the reality. And any human that tells you they're perfect too is also lying. I hope that by sharing these things, these downsides with you, yeah, maybe some of you guys, it deterred you, it pushed you guys away, but I'm hoping that it showed you guys that I'm willing to tell you guys and have the hard conversations and gain your trust that way. So with that said, guys, don't forget to check out, we have a free training at rentsimplesites.com. We also have a brand new community. If you go to rankandretire.com, we have a brand new school community. If you guys want to go check that out, or if you want to be a part of a community of people just like me and everybody else, that's their number one goal is to become free with this model. Go check it out, rankandretire.com. And if you're sick and tired of spending time that you can't get back, go and apply for Digital Landlords. Link is in the description. And guys, we will reach out to you and schedule an appointment to show you everything inside and see if it's a good fit for you and for us. So guys, with that said, life is short. Go buy time. See you guys on the next episode of Digital Real Estate Secrets. I'm out.